Okay, so hello everyone. It's Danielle, if you couldn't tell by the voice change. But for this month's Let's Get Real webinar, I'm just recording this presentation because the coronavirus and everything, wasn't quite sure how to do the webinar. But yeah, so for this presentation, we're going to be going over energy levels. So we're going to get started with a little video.
Some people are so full of life and energy, but for some reason, even when you seem to get more than enough sleep, you're still fighting off yawns and fatigue through the day. So why are you always tired? If you know the number of hours of sleep isn't the problem, the second most common cause of fatigue comes from lack of physical activity and a poor diet. Study after study finds that adults who began light exercise a few times a week reported more energy after 6 weeks. People who exercise more regularly also report sleeping better, even though studies show that they aren't sleeping any longer. But if that doesn't help, don't go straight for your cup of joe. While many studies show coffee is good for your health, research shows that your reliance on it can make you more sleepy. Caffeine blocks adenosine in your brain, which normally accumulates through the day and makes you sleepy at night. But consuming coffee or energy drinks less than 6 hours before bed can ultimately affect your sleep quality. As a result, people who don't use caffeine often report feeling less tired in the mornings. You might consider making sure you're fully hydrated with some water first too. One study found that a drop of 1.5% in our body's normal water levels can cause difficulty concentrating. Your blood thickens, which slows down nutrients and oxygen getting to your muscles and organs. However, a 2% drop is enough to make you feel thirsty, so while there's no need to be gulping down gallons of water, staying hydrated throughout the day will certainly help. Urine should be pale yellow. Any darker, and it's time for some water. Those glasses of wine or beers before bed may also be affecting your day. Studies have found that after becoming intoxicated, while test subjects would fall asleep faster, their quality of sleep was actually much lower, particularly during the second half of their night's sleep. Ultimately, alcohol reduces the amount of REM sleep you get. And if you're binge drinking and sleeping in on the weekends, be aware that a consistent sleep schedule is key. Try waking up close to your normal time on weekends and having short 20-minute naps in the day. These will still recharge your body without going into deep sleep and making you more tired. You're also more likely to fall asleep at the correct time on Sunday evening, making Monday morning easier. Of course, your mental well-being plays a role too. Anxiety is a big one. Worrying what people think, always feeling tense about work, or being overly concerned about every decision can be physically exhausting. And fatigue is one of the main symptoms of generalized anxiety disorder. Not only that, but anxiety may be affecting your sleep quality. On another serious end, depression can cause both physical and emotional fatigue, which more sleep won't necessarily relieve. For some, it causes insomnia or the inability to fall asleep in the first place. Unfortunately, there's no quick fix for the 10% of Americans who do suffer from depression, so if you think you may be depressed, see your physician or psychologist. Finally, you might also simply be a night owl. Around 20% of the population have genetics making them predisposed to staying up late, but living in our 9 to 5 world may make it difficult for you to get the proper amount of sleep. In fact, scientists call this phenomenon social jet lag, where night owls feel like they're living in the wrong time zone every day. If nothing seems to help, there may be an underlying medical condition causing your fatigue, which should be talked about with your physician.
Got a burning question you want answered? Ask it in the comment.
Okay, so we're just going to kind of recap that video because I know there was a lot going on. So really the main points that I want to hit are sleep, mental health, caffeine and alcohol, exercise, and then how that impacts you, the Power Station members. So the first thing that we're going to get started on is sleep. So it's recommended that adults ages 24 to 64 get 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. And this can be affected by a lot of different things. A lot of the big things are your screen time, how much you're on your phone, your laptop, your computer before going to bed, your alcohol intake, if you've been to happy hour that night, and then all daily activities that impact how tired we feel each night, and then how tired we feel when we wake up in the morning. So electronic devices, like I touched on with the screen time, they emit an artificial blue light that can suppress the release of the body's sleep-inducing hormone, which is melatonin. I don't know if you guys have heard, but there's those melatonin sleep gummies that a lot of people take to try to get that hormone going in their body so they feel more tired and are able to fall asleep quicker. So that can interfere with the body's natural internal clock. So that clock is what signals when it's time for us to go to sleep and when it's time for us to wake up. So if you find yourself using a lot of like electronics before going to bed, that can have a negative effect on the quality of sleep that you're getting, not necessarily the quantity. So sleep's always something to keep in mind. But another thing to keep in mind is caffeine and sugar intake throughout the day. So I'm just as guilty of it, but I know that when we haven't gotten a good quality night's sleep, a lot of people reach for a cup of coffee or an energy drink to help us get through the day. But the amount of sugar and caffeine in these drinks or in these energy sources is super important to pay attention to. So, drinking these sugary and highly caffeinated drinks can have a negative effect on your health. And so I found it really interesting to kind of break down even drinks that we wouldn't normally think have a high sugar, have a high caffeine intake do. So as you can see, the Powerade and even the vitamin water both contain high amounts of sugar. Also, if you see up here, the Lipton peach iced tea, I think those are all good indicators of how much sugar you're actually drinking. So it's important to look at those nutrition labels and be aware of that. And then here's a nice kind of graph that shows you the amount of caffeine that you have in your everyday drinks. But becoming dependent on these drinks for energy can often lead to an eventual caffeine crash throughout the day. So you've been having 2, 3, 4 cups of coffee, you're feeling good, and then all of a sudden you hit this energy cliff. So headaches, lack of focus, and irritability are all signs that you might have hit your caffeine cliff. And maybe it's time that you put down the coffee and start thinking about an alternative way to get energy and feel energized. So another thing that I want to touch on super quick, because I noticed in a lot of the SMART goals that were submitted back in January that some happy hour goals were submitted, maybe not to go to happy hour as much. So just putting it out there, I mean, it's a big thing for college students not to realize, but alcohol still contains calories. So, even when you're relaxing after lunch and you've gotten your workout in earlier that day, if you go and you down, 2, 3, 4 beers, it's important to keep in mind the amount of sugar and also the amount of calories that are in each one of those beers or each one of those mixed drinks. Because alcohol also impacts the quality of your sleep and can impact your energy levels for up to 72 hours after consuming. So I know you guys are probably more educated than I am, but also it's important to be sure that you hydrate before and after a night out of drinking or consuming alcohol, just to ensure that your body has ample time to recover and that you're not feeling those effects of drinking 2 to 3 days later. So another big thing that I wanted to touch on was mental health. And so the combination of lack of sleep and poor diet can lead to having a poor mental health state. And it's important to remember that your mental and emotional health are just as important as your physical health. So make sure that you're taking mental breaks throughout the day to clear your mind. Hint, hint, the Power Station has great energy break little series, even online at this point, that you can participate in. And if you're ever in the office, feel like you're starting to hit an energy cliff or feel like your mind's getting a little foggy, come down to the Power Station, take a walk, shoot some hoops. I know things are kind of up in the air right now, but once everything returns back to normal, that's a great way to check on your mental health and really just be aware of activities that you can participate in to help clear your mind. So just wanted to touch on the mental health aspect of things because all of it is important in your overall health. So how can we feel more energized? I don't know if you guys tell, but I get tired too. Yes, a 22-year-old gets super tired, as you can see by my picture in the bottom right corner. I just thought it was funny to include. But what if I told you that there was a simple and fun way to increase your energy levels and something that was easily accessible to you while at work? Yes, I know, crazy, but stick with me. The answer is exercise. So exercise has more benefits than just improving your figure or working towards your fitness goals. In addition, it helps increase your endorphin levels, which are your feel-good hormone. It improves your cardiovascular health, improves your sleep quality, not necessarily quantity, but quality of sleep is very important to focus on. Improves your focus, and you have an improved mental state. And of course, you have improved energy. So researchers found that an amount of physical activity was associated with not only a significant reduction in insomnia symptoms, so not being able to fall asleep, but also an elevation in mood as well. And I don't know about y'all, but whenever I finish a super hard workout, yes, physically I might be tired at first, but then mentally I feel super good about myself. I feel like I have more energy and I feel energized to take on the rest of my day. So a great resource to utilize to start incorporating exercise into your daily routine is the Power Station. And I know with all the coronavirus stuff going on and people not being at work or having access to the Power Station or even access to a gym, it can be kind of hard to get your exercise in, but fear not. On the Power Station's website, which I know everyone has access to, they have a schedule of the virtual energy breaks and then live workouts, as well as ask the trainer. So everything is still online, and that will help get those juices flowing, give you a creative way to get moving during this time of kind of having to stay indoors and social distance. And just know that there's ways to work out while at home, and the Power Station is here to help you with that. So this is just kind of an example of what's on the Facebook page and what's on the website. So you have your workout of the day. And I just want to give a shout out to our great staff because they, I think, have come up with some super creative and fun and interactive ways to keep everyone moving and connected during this time. So shout out to y'all. But yeah, here's some really good examples of boot camp at home and then Power Station workout of the day. So 2 great things to kind of utilize. And I know they've been also on Facebook Live doing the energy breaks. So also important things to pay attention to because we might not be together, but I'm sure you still have access to some of the resources that they're touching on. So just some overall wrap-up tips for trying to increase your energy levels. So like I said, try limiting your screen time starting 2 hours before bed. So reducing this blue light exposure will help limit the impact on your own internal clock. You'll be able to fall asleep quicker, have better quality sleep, and then be able to wake up without feeling super tired, even though you just slept for 7 or 8 hours. Also, eating a healthy, balanced diet and limiting your caffeine intake, trying not to exceed over 400 milligrams of caffeine in a day, and then also just being aware of the amount of sugar in the drinks that you consume. Also, like I said, take a brain break, and focusing on your mental health is super important just as much as your physical health. So finding those activities to help clear your mind and reduce your stress, hint energy breaks, are a great way to help focus on your mental health. And then lastly, exercise. Come into the Power Station and get a midday workout in to give yourself that energy to get through the rest of the day. Or working from home, go out, go on a walk. If you have a treadmill at home, utilize your treadmill, do an at-home workout posted by the Power Station. There are different ways to still stay active during this time, and in turn will help your energy, even though I know there's probably a lot of free time to catch up on that sleep or reach for a few extra beers. Just keep in mind, everything is okay in balance and in moderation. So balancing your mental state, the amount of sleep you're getting, the amount of exercise, as well as the amount of caffeine and sugar and alcohol that you're intaking, everything is okay in moderation. And I know you guys know that. So lastly, I just wanted to say thank you to all of our members and as well as our staff. Although I was not an intern for the whole 2 to 3 months, I enjoyed every single minute of it, from day one of the 20th birthday to being put into teaching roles, as well as just observing all the different classes and all the different activities, and then also getting to build those relationships with some of you guys and just getting to know you has really made a big impact on me. And although I might not be back at the Power Station in person, I just wanted to personally say thank you on here. So thank you guys, and I hope that this webinar recorded presentation was somewhat informative, and everyone just try to stay healthy during this time. So thank you.